Hello and welcome to the 2022 National Collegiate Men's Volleyball Selection Show. I am your host, Jeremiah Johnson. Now, just hearing your school's name on this show is a tremendous accomplishment. Once again, 7 teams will see their names shortly. 5 of the schools are watching right now knowing they are already in as automatic qualifiers. For others, these are nerve-wracking times with only 2 at-large spots available. For the second consecutive year, all 7 competitors will play at one site. This year's event will be held May 1st through the 7th at UCLA's Pauley Pavilion. To help us break down this exclusive bracket, we'd like to welcome Vinny Lopes to the program. He is the founder and editor of Off the Block. A couple questions before we show you the bracket, Vinny. We saw the Division I Competition Oversight Committee allowing all 7 teams to compete in the one site after doing it last year for COVID-based reasons. But how beneficial is this for the event and the sport to do it this way?
It is absolutely huge. And I also love the fact that I get to keep all these teams in suspense more before we show the bracket. But absolutely huge to answer your question. When we talk about bracket integrity, it is so essential that you get all 7 teams there so geography does not become a factor when determining the opening round matches. And I think the other important thing to keep in mind as well is this provides an NCAA tournament experience for all schools. The Conference Carolina schools, you're now going out to UCLA. You're going to Pauley Pavilion. That is a special experience that you would not have if it was at an on-campus location. So this is great for men's volleyball, and from the men's volleyball community, this is something that you want to see continued in future years.
Vinny, what a wild week for conference tournaments. You saw a number of upsets, Penn State, UCLA, the list goes on. How difficult do these results make things for the committee as they're trying to find those 2 at-large schools?
Yeah, so 2 songs from my high school years come to mind. On the Gwen Stefani song, this was bananas. I mean, you talk about 3 number 1 seeds going down in the conference tournament. All 3 of those teams, Long Beach State, UCLA, Penn State, before this week, we had them projected to be the number 1, number 2, and number 3 seeds going into the NCAA tournament. And because of that, well, it's like the Avril Lavigne song, Complicated. It made things so complicated for the selection committee because ultimately you're looking at one of the top teams in the nation not getting a chance to play in the NCAA tournament. Just think how crazy this absolutely is because of everything that has happened. You potentially could have the team ranked number 1 in the coaches poll or number 2 in the RPI, not even get an invite to the NCAA tournament. Talk about how tough it is to make the college football playoff. This is even more difficult. We see you, Alabama football. We raise you with this one. I mean, it is just insanity. And hey, look, a lot can be discussed about conference tournaments. Do they need to be reformed, protect the higher seeds? Those are all fair questions to have at a later date. But ultimately, conferences decide how they're going to allocate their AQ, and then it's up to the selection committee to decide. And boy, I feel sorry for the selection committee this year because it was not an easy choice. It was a situation that they did not want to be in. And I can tell you, it took hours upon hours of deliberating because it was that close between the 3 teams that we have projected potentially get the at-large: Long Beach State, Penn State, and UCLA. And once again, in any other year, had they have won the conference tournaments, they are automatically in the top 3 instead of one of these teams not even getting an invite.
Vinny's going to step aside, work on another musical reference to bring you later in the show. Let's not delay the drama any longer. Let's show you the top overall seed for this tournament, and it does belong to one of the 2 at-large selections, Long Beach. Despite falling to Hawaii Saturday night in Honolulu, the Beach can breathe easy. They enter the tournament having won 2 of the last 3 national championships that were held. They won in 2018 and 2019. Long Beach was the regular season Big West champion. Now they've won 4 regular season titles in 5 seasons. Sophomore setter Aiden Knipe, 3rd in the nation in assists per set. Alex Nikolov averages 4.54 kills per set. That ranks 3rd in the nation. Congratulations to 3-time National Coach of the Year, Alan Knipe, for helping Long Beach to this number 1 overall seed. Their first match will be May 5th. They'll await the winner of an opening round match that features the other at-large selection, so we'll get the suspense out of the way early. UCLA is in their 28th NCAA appearance. Saw their 9-match winning streak end in the Mountain Pacific Sports Federation tournament semifinals to Stanford. Still, that record and RPI ranking is good enough to earn the Bruins a spot. This is one to savor. Once again, they will host the championships. They were the top-ranked team in the AVCA poll for 9 consecutive weeks. They've won national championships a record 19 times, the last having come in 2006. You see some highlights from the Bruins on your screen now. This is just though their third NCAA appearance since 2006. Congratulations to UCLA. They will match up with 19-9 Pepperdine. The Waves won their 6th MPSFV tournament title with a 5-set thriller over Stanford on Saturday. Bryce Dvorak was named tournament MVP. Alex Gettinger and Jacob Steele recognized with all tournament team honors. UCLA defeated Pepperdine twice in early April. The rivalry resumes in an opening round match that is set for May 3rd at Poly Pavilion. This marks the tournament berth 17 for the 5-time national champions. There you see the first 3 schools. So a lot to digest with Vinny Lopes. Let's go back to you and give me your initial thoughts. You mentioned the 3 at-large schools that were in contention for those 2 spots.
Yeah, so looking at this matchup and everything that you have to consider, I absolutely understand and everything that took place. 19 match winning streak in the regular season. You beat Long Beach State earlier in the season, but end of the day, you have to look at all the criteria. And when you look at all the components, Penn State just didn't have it with UCLA, with Long Beach State. You look at the matchup, if you went head-to-head Penn State versus UCLA, UCLA had a better record against teams under NCAA tournament consideration. They had a better strength of schedule. And then with Long Beach State, projected RPI was higher, and also the strength of schedule was much better. And then when you start looking a little deeper, you look at the record against RPI teams in the top 10, which is a data point that the selection committee does have, not necessarily part of the primary criteria, but part of the criteria that they have available to them. You have Long Beach State at about 8-3 in that stat. You have Penn State 1-3. So once again, I absolutely understand if you're Mark Pavlik, if you're Penn State, you have to be frustrated beyond belief right now. You're the number 2 ranked team in the RPI. You're number 2 in the coaches poll going in. But at the end of the day, losing in the conference tournament obviously hurt the chances immensely. And the data just wasn't there this year.
All right, more with Vinny in just a little bit. The most anticipation remaining centers around which school will get that number 2 seed and bye into the semifinals. Congratulations to the Ball State Cardinals. An incredible atmosphere at Worthen Arena for the MIVA championship on Saturday. Hoosier State rivals met with that NCAA spot on the line. Ball State prevailed 3-0 against Purdue Fort Wayne, putting one of the original college volleyball powers back in the tournament for the first time since 2002. An amazing first season for Donan Cruz, Ball State head coach. He was named Midwestern Intercollegiate Volleyball Association Coach of the Year. Caleb Janess was tabbed the conference's Player of the Year. Also Saturday named Tournament MVP. It will be Ball State's 16th appearance in the tournament since the program began. One sign in the stands at Worthen Arena said it all. It said, "Do it for Don," in honor and memory of Don Shondell, who passed away in November. He won 769 games in his Ball State coaching career. The Cardinals did it for Don. Chirp, chirp. They are the number 2 seed. Next, we say hello to the defending national champion, Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. A fantastic morning on the islands as they got a 3-set win against Long Beach State on Saturday in the Big West Championship. The 3rd time was the charm for Hawaii, avenging 2 regular season losses to the Beach. Jakob Tella was named tournament MVP. He dished out 43 assists, added 11 digs for his 2nd double-double of the season. Hawaii finished the season a perfect 18-0 at home. They will hope to stay hot at Poly Pavilion next week in the National Collegiate Volleyball Tournament. Congratulations to 24-5 Hawaii. Now, the very first match to be held at UCLA on May 1st features 15-12 Princeton, and the Tigers capped off a magical weekend by defeating NJIT in the championship of the Eastern Intercollegiate Volleyball Association. The match was dubbed the Battle for the Best of the Garden State. It went to Princeton 3-1, and that was after they knocked off the conference's top seed Penn State on Thursday. Ben Harrington was named first team all-conference as well as the league's newcomer of the year. Princeton is advancing to the national tournament for the third time in program history. And the final school we recognize today, congratulations to North Greenville, the Crusaders, advancing to the tournament for the first time in school history after claiming Saturday's Conference Carolinas Championship. That title-clinching match was indeed a thriller, 3-2 against Mount Olive, played at Mount Olive. The match featured 31 ties and 12 lead changes. Gregory Torres finished a match-high 25 kills. He was named the conference's most valuable player. Sergio Carrillo and Diego Rosic also named the Conference Carolinas All-Tournament team. Game time for that opening round match will take place 5 p.m. Pacific time, once again on May 1st. Vinny, take a look at the bottom half of the bracket. What do you see with Ball State getting the bye into the semifinals? Who might challenge the Cardinals in that matchup?
Yeah, well, let's talk about this bye right here first and foremost, because I think the people who may not have been plugged into the bracketology may be wondering, what in the world is Ball State doing number 2? But you have to look at all the data and everything that goes into play. And what the selection committee does is they first determine the at-large teams, then you start seeding the field. So when you talk about Ball State, they had the second best RPI. Their record against teams under NCAA tournament consideration, 3-0, one of the best in the field, deserves that number 2. You could say their SOS was a little low, but once again, also the fact that Ball State defeated Hawaii twice during the regular season. I know the 808 Volley Talk Mafia is going to point on out that, hey, Hawaii was without a couple of their starters. End of the day, though, selection committee looks at the end results. It's the Vin Diesel line of whether you win by an inch or you win by a mile, you win. And that's what matters. Ball State won those 2 matches, why they're slated in at the number 2 seed. But I think the important thing I also, when looking at this bracket, what I love the committee did is, once again, they stayed true to the seeding. They stayed true to the integrity of the bracket. They didn't start playing around with things of, we don't want to see 2 conference opponents meet in the opening round, or, we could get an all Big West finals. No, they went with how it should be. Let the integrity play out of the system, and if you get a conference match in the opening round, so be it. But I'll tell you what, this is going to be some exciting volleyball. Even we talk about, that Sunday play-in match right there. You look at North Greenville. This is a scary team. Michael De La Cruz has been outstanding this year. Gregory Torres, fantastic. They have things set up very well in Fred Battenfield's final year before he retires. Princeton has some amazing talent. They didn't even play last season. They opted out of the season because of COVID. But don't sleep on this match. That is going to be a fun one. And then going up against Hawaii, that's going to be a test. Yakatella, once again, one of the best setters in the game. Hawaii can be down by 5, and if Tell is back there on the service line, you're feeling nervous as the team in the lead. That's how good he is. And you look at Voss. So, I think bracketology, I'm looking at this now, and I think it sets up for a rematch of Hawaii, Ball State. All the players are healthy after some players were out in January when these teams met. So let's settle on the court in UCLA. I'll tell you what, I'm excited here. Do we have to wait a full week before these matches start? Can we just get all the teams out there and play right now? I'll hop in my car and drive all the way on out to California nonstop. I mean, I'm hyped up on coffee beyond belief right now because I was up till 4 a.m. watching all the insanity of college volleyball in the conference tournament. This weekend was nuts, and the bracketology was nuts. But in the end, I give a lot of credit to the selection committee. They had a tough job. I thought they did it very well.
I love the enthusiasm. Final thoughts. Last year, you saw Hawaii and BYU 1 versus 2 get to the championship match. Are you seeing seeds hold up? What do you think you'll see for that championship match?
Yeah, there's a lot more parity in college men's volleyball this year. I think last year we all kind of went into Columbus thinking you go see the top 2 seeds. Maybe Lewis can do something. This year, who knows? I mean, we've already seen all the craziness play out. And, we didn't even talk too much about Pepperdine, who they had such a roller coaster of a season. They were number 1 in most preseason polls, or in the top ones had falling off. But then they come back in. That's a hot team that can play well. They could pull some upsets. You look at Hawaii, how well they're playing. At this point, I can't even venture a guess because there's been so many upsets. It's just crazy. But you know what? You're going to want to tune in for these because this is going to be some fun, fantastic volleyball. And at the end of the day, whoever wins it is going to be deserving of that national championship. This is just so exciting for the sport to see how competitive this conference championship week has been and what we're in store for the NCAA tournament and how competitive that's going to be.
Well, Vinny, great coverage all season long. Bottle up some of that enthusiasm and save it for your road trip to Los Angeles. It should be a great event.
Indeed.
So the field is set. All 7 teams still alive in pursuit of a national championship. You just saw on the screen. The opening round matches will be contested May 1st and 3rd. Once again, hosted by the University of California, Los Angeles. The championship will be held May 5th and 7th, the semifinals and finals. Once again, that championship match will be played at 5 p.m. Pacific time on May 7th. The semifinal matches will be streamed live on NCAA.com, and the championship will be live on ESPN2 at Pauley Pavilion in Los Angeles. Once again, special thanks to Vinny Lopes, founder and editor of Off the Block, for his outstanding coverage all season long and on this show. I am Jeremiah Johnson. We thank you for joining us today. Congratulations and best of luck to all the student athletes competing in this year's championship.
There's an energy swelling out beyond the limits of your expectations. A universe where fandom reigns supreme. Once you're in it, it changes you. Instead of one of one, you're one of many. A blissful sea of chaos. Go beyond your limits and enter the NCAA universe. Get your seats today at ncaa.com/tickets.